HSR is a game with a lot of characters, and a fast-moving meta. One day, you'll be 0 cycling with 1 cost, and the next, you need E2 supports to even get a 3 cycle. We can look at Anexa and Herda as examples of this. Anexa has been a top tier ever since he released in version 3.2. Herda, on the other hand, started struggling by version 3.5, and has long since been far worse in the eyes of most players. Many characters disappear from the limelight quick, or stay around about as long as you would expect. What we don't see as often, though, is those characters who persist, the ones who stay competitive for a long time, finding constant new uses in an ever-changing meta. Today, that's what we'll talk about as we go over the best aging characters in HSR. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, become a YouTube member down below, and with that said, let's get into it. The first character I want to talk about today is going to be Huohuo. This is actually related to a tweet I saw on Twitter. I do not have it saved, unfortunately, but we just really don't talk about it enough that Huohuo has managed to persist for a very, very long time in this game. Now, yes, she did get a Nova Flare, and that helps her out an extraordinary amount, but realistically, this is a character who just had a very inspired kit design that has managed to still be good so long later because she deals in a niche that is extremely uncommon: energy. Huohuo is a character who, upon using her ultimate, she will restore 20% energy for every teammate on the team, besides her, of course. That is genuinely invaluable for so many different teams. Energy is always going to be that one thing that just about every character can reasonably use. Obviously, there are exceptions: Silverwolf level 999, Casterus, Fei Xiao, none of them use energy, but every other character, their supports, they all use energy. And oftentimes, the ults of the other characters on those teams for those specific characters still matter a lot to actually make those DPS perform at their top ability. That's just for the characters with specific ult mechanics. We haven't even talked about characters who just have normal energy ults. Characters that are going to be like Aglaia, Evanesia, Saber, Gilgamesh. These are characters that absolutely love having more sources of energy available, and that is exactly what Huohuo brings to the table. Her healing also comes in a bit of a different way, where yes, she can heal on her turn by using her skill, but also she has Divine Provision, a pretty unique way to do healing. And admittedly, I actually don't even love Divine Provision that much, but it is still a pretty good idea for an Abundance character. Essentially, how Divine Provision works is that whenever a character has their turn come up, they will be healed a little bit by Divine Provision. There is also a way to trigger it early. If you use an ultimate, when you use that ultimate, you will actually heal for a little bit of your max HP because of Divine Provision. It is essentially a way that ultimate-heavy characters are able to heal themselves either out of turn or consistently. So a character like Aglaia, she's able to consistently get those heals from Huohuo even if Huohuo isn't acting. Then there's somebody like Evanesia, who, Evanesia, you almost always want an ult ready to go, so that means that if you start getting a bit low mid-fight, you pop your Evanesia ultimate, and then bam, you are now getting healed up a pretty substantial amount thanks to Divine Provision being active. It is not my favorite thing, but it is a unique approach to out-of-turn healing, and because of the importance of ultimates in this game for many characters, it ends up working fairly well, especially in Huohuo's best teams, which are going to be Saber Gilgamesh, Aglaia, and Evanesia. A lot of the characters on those teams are either ult spammers, or they are teams that constantly will have an ultimate ready to go. In the case of Aglaia, it will be her, and then usually Sunday is having his ready to go pretty fast. For Saber and Gilgamesh, they literally recharge each other's energy non-stop, so those two are always ready to go. And for Evanesia, you're going to have EMC constantly getting energy, Evanesia constantly regenerating energy, and then Yao Guang, she's probably the slowest one to get her ult, and even then, with her light cone, and with her basic attack regenerating the same amount as her skill, it doesn't take her that long to get her ultimate either. All in all, Huohuo has managed to consistently be a strong presence in the game thanks to that unique attribute. The fact that she gives something that so few characters give, and in a slot where, for a long time, you didn't get much else besides just simple healing. Nowadays, sustains have advanced a great deal, but no other sustain gives energy like Huohuo does. So she still dominates a niche, because if you're between Huohuo and Sunday and you're absolutely going to use a sustain, there are a lot of better choices than a Sunday, than a Ting Yun nowadays. So if you use Huohuo instead, you now get to use a stronger support like a Mordenax Blade or a Robin Summeretto, but at the same time, you're not losing out on that massive energy regen you need. It is overall a pretty simple formula that works incredibly well, and that is why Huohuo has continued to dominate the game, even though she is a 1.6 character. It has been almost 3 full versions since Huohuo released, and it just doesn't matter. She got Nova Flare somewhere in there, and she has gone immediately back to being one of the top options in the game. We now move on to the next character on my list for today, which is going to be none other than RMC. Now I know, supports usually age better to begin with, and RMC came out in version 3.0, I believe, so it hasn't even been that long that RMC has been available in this game. That does not change what I'm going to say today, because we have seen so many other characters fall off in a much shorter amount of time. We've seen a character like Jiao Cho be lost to the wayside because he just couldn't do anything else for any other relevant characters. We've seen Tribby now be replaced by Mordenax Blade, which has inherently lowered her value a pretty substantial amount. Then we see a character like Robin, who lost her value the moment the HP meta really started to dominate the game. A lot of those characters were very, very good, very influential, but they all got worse eventually. RMC, on the other hand, RMC has persisted an insane amount. Let's really look at it closely. How many teams use RMC as either a replacement option or as a genuine best available option? Think about it. Himiko Nova loves using RMC. Evernight loves using RMC. Castoris can use RMC. Archer can use RMC for sustainless. There are countless teams that rely on RMC to actually do their best damage, to do their best cycle clear times. They rely on this one single character. That is very telling as to RMC's value, and if you look at any tier list, guess what? RMC is still top of the top. They have aged incredibly well because of the uniqueness that they offer to any singular team in this game. True damage is a very, very powerful buff. It is almost always a positive for just about every damage type in the game, except for, I believe, DOT. I don't think DOT benefits from it nearly as much as anything else, but regardless, it helps just about everything else. It can help break, it can help any sort of elation team. True damage is just overall a very beneficial thing to have, and RMC is the only character in the game that you get for free who can give true damage. Yeah, Cyrene can give it. You need to go get Cyrene, and she's nowhere near as universally portable. You could go get E1 Tribby, but then you need to get Tribby, and then you need to get an Eidolon on top of that. That's a heavy pull burden. But then, RMC is just sitting right there. A completely free character who not only gives you access to true damage, but also gives you a 100% action advance, a crit damage share, is capable of multiple attacks, because you have a Mem who will attack, and you have a joint attack with RMC, which counts for 2 hits. And all of their Eidolons are completely available for free, which can actually make RMC even more beneficial for a wider variety of characters if you actually go through the trouble of getting those Eidolons, which you absolutely should. This is simply an absolutely amazing character who is universally helpful. They have not made many characters like that, at least not to the level of RMC. Nowadays, we've had a few more characters like that again. We have Mordenax Blade, and then we have Robin Summeretto. These two characters are both extremely good and extremely portable to any team, but RMC is still the only one that gives you access to that true damage. And they are the only one that is completely free. That is genuinely incredible. And the biggest part about them is that they serve as a phenomenal sustainless option, once again because they're free, but because of the fact that, yeah, they offer that 100% action advance, and they give you that powerful damage type that you need. They are just overall an extremely powerful character, and thanks to the fact that they work so universally, and thanks to the fact that that kit that they have is just so overwhelmingly powerful and brings something to the table that is so hard to get in HSR, it makes them an absolutely incredible support. It makes them invaluable to the point that teams are often fighting over using RMC or just using the MC form in general. If you have somebody like EffMTee, you can then use EMC with EffMTee, but then if another team needs RMC, losing out on RMC for that team is often worse than having EMC lost for EffMTee. That's just how impactful that character is. It is truly insane to say that about an MC form, and it still makes me so disappointed to this day that Elation MC ends up being so much weaker and so much worse in comparison. But regardless, we're here to appreciate RMC. They are absolutely one of the best aging characters in the game, and it's crazy to say that they're just still one of the best characters in the game, absolutely bar none. Next up on my list for today is going to be Cerydra. This is a character who has aged impressively well in my opinion, and the thing is though, is that most of that aging doesn't come from more characters really relying on her in any way, shape, or form. Realistically, if you look at all the new characters that have come out, the only one who really enjoys having Cerydra still is going to be Rin. And Rin isn't even meant to be run as a main DPS for most players. She is a sub DPS for Archer, and then Sparkle is still the most important support. So why does Cerydra still do so well? Why is Cerydra still considered highly? Well, it's because of just the uniqueness that she brings to the game at large. She is a character who cannot easily be replicated in what she does, the absolute value that she brings. Looking at a character like Anexa. Anexa is a character who is so much worse without his ideal team nowadays. If you do not have Cyrene and Cerydra on a team with Anexa, he's not going to perform anywhere near as well as he can. He is going to look like a shell of himself, and that's how important those two characters are to his success. Cerydra is a key part of that, and the same can be said for Finon. I know some people don't think Cerydra is as important for Finon nowadays, and you know what, that is completely fair. I do understand where you're coming from. However, me personally, I still believe that Cerydra is in fact that valuable to any Finon player. She is still going to be a massive step up, and if you're not trying to do a bunch of constant low cycle clears, having a Cerydra on your team is absolutely going to be far more valuable to you than otherwise. She is the key character in this game who can replicate skill damage. Nobody else can do that. She increases the skill damage as well. That is an invaluable trait, and while it's not the most common thing in the world, while not everybody can use her to the maximum efficiency, the characters who do need her are very good, and they are so much better with her than without. And she still finds places where she can in fact make an impact. Himiko Nova? Guess what? She can replicate Himiko Nova assist skill because it's considered as using a skill. Cerydra has still found places to be of use in some way, shape, or form. And when you consider those best teams and how reliant they are upon her, and the fact that main DPS Rin is incredibly strong and you really need Cerydra to find the level of success you want with that, all of those things considered, yeah, Cerydra is in fact a very powerful and a very valuable character in this game. There's really no question about it. And while it's still taking a while to see her get that next super big, amazing DPS that at E0 everyone should want Cerydra for, it doesn't change the fact that she is still great right now, and because of how unique that mechanic is, she's only going to age better into the future, because they're not going to replace her. It's the same principle as Huohuo, and we just haven't seen the level of success for Cerydra that Huohuo has gotten. So, people still talk down about Cerydra, they still say all these things, but it's going to come. That success is going to be there eventually. And that doesn't discount what she's doing right now either. This is a character that is incredibly unique, very strong, and absolutely is aging well. So if you have any of those characters that benefit from her, you absolutely should be getting her. You won't regret it. The final character on our list today is going to be Archer. Archer is definitely one of the better aging characters in HSR. And yes, Sparkle got a buff, and that helped him out a lot. Yes, Rin came out, and that helped him out a lot. But that does not change the fact that Archer as a character has a very solid core kit that allows him to easily keep being enhanced continuously. Let's look at what an average Archer team is going to look like. You're going to have Archer, Rin, Sparkle, and then either a DHPT, or you're going to have another sustain like an RMC. This is a team that can mostly be built up with free characters, which is absolutely incredible. And even if you don't have that absolutely perfect team for Archer, it doesn't matter as much, because as long as you have him with either Rin or Sparkle, you have a extremely strong core. You have the skill points you need, you have the rotations that you need. And then from there, he's a very easy character to enhance. He self-buffs himself a lot, but then he really appreciates when he gets a lot of those additional multipliers. When he gets Res Pen, that can help him a lot. When he gets Defense Shred, that can help him a lot. When he just gets Vulnerability, that can help him a lot. Characters like Robin Summeretto, Mordenax Blade, even just normal Robin, Tribby, these have all been able to help out Archer an unbelievable amount. He is a character who does not need much to really excel. And it's because, once again, of how self-contained his kit is. He is able to deal out massive damage all at once. And if you have E1, which many players have been able to get, because of the fact that we've had 2 different Fate Selectors, that helps him even more without his best teammates, because now, every time you fire 3 shots, which at minimum you should be firing 3 shots every time, with that in mind, you now get another shot for absolutely free with that E1. Alongside that, he has ways to regenerate skill points in his kit, which, if you do not have those ideal teammates, is unbelievably helpful. And if you do have those ideal teammates, then hey, there you go. More skill points, even faster rotations, which is absolutely awesome. Archer is simply a very, very powerful character, and he is very well designed. He gets to do his game no matter the enemy, no matter what else is going on with the team, with the, with the buff that he's facing, the debuff. Archer is able to continuously carry out his game plan. He is able to brute force many things, simply because of the fact that he has so much power behind his kit that is very, very easy to amplify with almost any other strong character in this game. The best thing I can say about Archer is that recently I've been starting a new account to get the new player experience in HSR. I had the choice between Archer and Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh just came out this version, and he is a pretty good character. Yes, he works best with Saber, that is his ideal spot, but he's still finding success with other teams and even just on his own. That's pretty big. However, I chose Archer. It's because, yes, Archer works a bit better for the early game, and that's kind of what I needed. But at the same time, Archer is still very, very powerful. He's easy to work with, and he gets improved dramatically by having any of those premium supports that he likes. With all that in mind, it's easy to say that a character who came out in version 3.4, still succeeding a year later, is pretty easily one of the best aging characters in all of HSR. There's nothing wrong with his kit. He is easy to improve, as we've seen with Sparkle buffs and Rin, and now we're gonna have like Robin Summeretto and maybe some other future support that boosts him all the way back up again. He is consistently a threat. He is consistently going to be good, just in the same vein as a Nexa. As long as you are willing to invest in that team and willing to keep making commitments to it, that team is never going to fail you. It is never going to spiral downhill. It is never going to dramatically fall. It is going to be good for a very, very long time. That is absolutely huge, and it has made Archer one of the best characters in HSR, and of course, one of the best aging in all of HSR. With all those characters out of the way, that is actually going to end my video for today. I did actually have another character on the list with HSR, but I mean, yeah, he's aged really well, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't feel like it exemplifies the exact same level as some of the other characters. These 4 beforehand, those are the ones that really stood out to me, that really were some of the best aging. They have managed to always be competitive. They have managed to always be really top options in all of their roles. And I think they just have a bit more value because the HSR at the end of the day is just a very good sustain and doesn't quite offer that same niche access that Huohuo does. Yes, he provides a summon, which can help enable the Sunday combo, but still, that's still not as good, if we're being entirely honest. Like, very few people actually use that nowadays, because, you know, sustain users have also gone down, unfortunately. All in all, I'm still really happy with this list. I'm happy to give these characters some of the recognition that they absolutely deserve, and especially just RMC, always getting to talk about that character, because they are truly unbelievable in what they are capable of. That this free character has dominated the game to such an extensive level and for so long at this point. It is absolutely insane, and it makes me really happy that they are still just that top option with this absolutely beautiful kit that has made zero cycling, doing low cycle clears, or maybe even getting your first clear so much easier. All in all, pretty happy with this video, and I hope you all are as well. If there are any other characters I missed, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I'm very curious to see what you all think. Thank you all so much for watching. I've got plenty more good videos coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye-bye!